My name is Matt King. I was born and raised right here in these mountains in western North Carolina. This was the first guitar I ever saw, and it was my dad's 1969 Martin D28. And I remember I would sneak into the bedroom and I would go. And for some reason that sounded like it made sense, and then Dad would come home and go, "You got my guitar case, didn't you?" 28 years ago, I moved to Nashville, Tennessee with $300, a 3-speed Jeep Cherokee with a hole in the floorboard. And so I moved up there to become a songwriter and a singer. And I knew that if I didn't do it, I would be the guy going, I wonder what would have happened.
Singing 5 O'Clock Hero, here's Matt King.
You fell apart on the straight and narrow. You thread the needle with a ball and chain. Kill Cupid with his own arrow. Dry your tears with a hurricane.
My first performance in front of a large audience was 40,000 people with me and a guitar. My manager had told me, he said, "Matt, you're going to play fanfare." And I went, "This is amazing." And he goes, "You're going to do it without a band." I had one song on the radio at the time, and I walked out, and it felt like it was natural. I have a musical family now. My wife is Heidi Newfield. She's a singer, a songwriter, and an amazing harmonica player. I just remember I was out promoting a record. I sat down and turned on the TV, and I remember there was a remake of the song "It's a Heartache," and she and her band had redone it, and I just went, wow, I love her voice, and she's really beautiful. Move forward all these years later, and I hate to admit it, but we met on Facebook. I invited a bunch of people over to my house for Thanksgiving one year. I said, "I've got a fire, don't spend Thanksgiving alone." And she wrote in and said, Matt King, that's a nice thing of you to do. This is Heidi Newfield." And we started a conversation, and the conversation is yet to end. So I'm really grateful. I've had a great time, and now I'm back in these mountains, and I'm roasting coffee in western North Carolina in the Blue Ridge Mountains. And I just, every single day I pinch myself again thinking, how did I get to go around the world in a few years and do what I love? So let me tell you about Pawpaw King. His name was actually Fred Sexton. His father wasn't much of a father, so he took his mother's name, which was King. And during that time period, everybody did what they had to do to survive. So he and his father-in-law, B.T. Wright, from Harlan County, Kentucky, would go behind the city incinerator and make whiskey, or moonshine. And they used to take the overripened fruit that the restaurants had thrown out, and they realized that if they added that to their mash, it would be even more potent and have a better taste. So it was called the White Mule, but that kind of liquor was called Popskull, aptly named because it would pop your skull off, and you had to be careful because it was very subtle. So that's kind of the history. My dad sent me a picture of those two characters leaned up against a Model A, and I took that picture, and we've ended up using that on the bag. So when I started making coffee, I just called it Popskull Pitch because I was roasting it really dark. And I thought, well, this will be a good name for my coffee, and it just stuck. You know, the coolest thing is that we're actually here in the Blue Ridge Mountains making coffee, not too far from where they made their whiskey, in this amazing stone house. And we've immortalized my grandfathers. We're becoming a part of this community. And that's what I always wanted to do. I wanted to leave, I wanted to see the world through the eyes of music, and then bring that back and share it. So we're getting to do music and coffee right here. I couldn't be happier.